Excuse me. Good morning, Facebook. What's happening, guys? What's going on? Good morning. I wanted to shoot you guys a quick video. I was doing some morning reading and was reading a book that actually had nothing to do with the strategy of goal setting and so forth, but I thought it was really interesting the way that this author put in two words the idea behind goal setting, writing 12-month goals out, trying to achieve goals, and so forth. Some interesting stuff, some interesting takeaways, because I'm always trying to help my team align with actually goal setting and achieving goals and building scorecards and, organizing meetings and trying to tick off goals each week and trying to piece by piece trying to get people to achieve their goals, right? But this author does a really, really good job of putting a couple different things into play that I think might be interesting for you guys. So I wanted to review them with you real quick. And I wanted to talk about them, get your insight, maybe get some interaction. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask them, and we'll go from there. What's up? Good morning, Drew. Good morning, Mark. What's up, Matt? What's up, Evelyn? What's up, Christy? All right. So let's do this. What's up, Steve? Let's do this. Let's get started. So one of the things that he talks about, number one, is this, which I think is awesome. He talks about the 50-50 rule. This is what I think is really, really interesting, the 50-50 rule, right? 50-50 rule is this. Let's say your goal is to make $100,000 a year. He says in year one, if your goal is to make $100,000 a year and you make $65,000, right? You feel like you had 65% of achieved 65% of your goal, right? And you feel like a failure. However, if you did 65% of your goal and you learned nothing along the way, then you failed, right? But if you spend 50% of your time learning and 50% of your time achieving, and you made $65,000 in year one, then you probably achieved your goals. Meaning this, right? We have to be constantly learning, constantly growing, constantly pushing, constantly getting better. And if year one, your goal was to make $100,000 and you only made $65,000, you may not have failed. Now, you may not have achieved your goal of making $100,000. However, you may have learned enough in the first year to make $150,000 or $250,000 in year two because of your learning experience in year one. So in other words, the takeaway is that you can come short of your goal, but you can far exceed the end goal. So one of the things that he puts in here that I love, and I guess subconsciously it's always been my goal, is to think about the end game. Think about the long game. Think about being in it forever. I knew when I got into real estate that this was going to be my life. I knew that this was all I was ever going to do. I knew that this was it, right? So when I started buying real estate, I knew that no matter what the exit strategy was, no matter how I was going to fix and flip, no matter whether I was going to do single families or apartment buildings or office buildings or sky rises, I knew that when I was 80 years old, I was going to be sitting on my couch telling stories about how I built a $1 billion portfolio, right? No matter what it took to do that, no matter what size the property was, it was all real estate, right? So when you're doing whatever you're doing, thinking about the end goal in mind, even if you fall short year one, you've still made the knowledge happen to create leaps and bounds year two, leaps and bounds year three. So that 50-50 rule, I love that, right? If you're continuing to educate, the idea, folks, is that we're always going to fail. In fact, you have to fail. If you're not failing, you're not trying, right? So if you fall 65% of the dollar figure goal year one, that's what 50% of your effort went into. At least 50% of your other effort better be into getting better. And how are we getting better? We should be getting better in our sales skills. We should be getting better in our communication skills. We should be getting better in our system skills. We should be getting better in our recording down what we do, right? I call that proven process, right? Getting better at each little individual tweak as we grow, as we get better, and stop trying to put it on a dollar figure, because that dollar figure is only going to be the money that helps you survive, that salary that helps you pay your mortgage and so forth. That's all well and good. But if you really want to build true wealth, you have to think about the end game. You have to think about multiplying that wealth and how you're going to create more out of it. I did a seminar type training thing for a bunch of realtors and investors a couple weeks ago, and we talked about the idea behind building organic growth within your business, building a referral business, building a network of professionals that you can rely on, because you're not going to be able to just rely on buying leads, buying business, having business just be bought and paid for and roll in, because it's a constant grind that way, right? You can't just keep buying it and expect it to keep rolling in the door. You can, but you're never going to build a real business that way. Business comes from building a network of a spider web of people that know you, like you, and trust you and want to give you business. So if you're doing that 50-50 principle in the first couple of years, I would encourage you to spend 50% of your time spending 50% of your time learning to understand people, know people, get them to trust you, get them to communicate with you, get them to understand your business, understand their business and add value, and spend the other 50% time trying to earn money. So he goes on to say this. These 4 questions, right, about setting your goals, when you're first setting out your business plan, you're first deciding what you want to do, right? He says, what gets me excited about my business? Truly excited, not just periphery excited, but what really gets me driven about my business. Now, this gets deeper into my why and so forth. You guys can take that as far as you want, but get deep about it, right? Once I've achieved my goal, what's the benefit? So, folks, again, we're not just paying our mortgage with this thing. What do we want to do with it? Once I achieve my goal, I'm going to go take my family on a trip. Once I achieve my goal, I'm going to celebrate it in a way. And once I achieve my goal, I'm going to buy a house for my family, or I'm going to whatever, invest in a new business, or I'm going to, grow something bigger than myself, right? Maybe I'm going to buy a life insurance plan and start to use infinite banking, right? If I don't achieve my goal, I'll be disgusted with myself because I'm not going to get to do X. What is that thing, right? Getting deeper into, if I don't do it, right? I'll take this a step further. Commit to someone that you're accountable for. Commit to someone that you have more impact, that will have more impact on you than yourself, right? Commit to your wife, commit to your mom, commit to your dad, commit to someone who's close to you, that you're going to achieve your goal, because it becomes a bigger need and want to achieve it than if you just tell yourself you're going to achieve it, right? You're actually accountable to that person because you promised them you would achieve it. It becomes way deeper than just telling yourself you're going to achieve something. And then finally, what are the negative consequences if you don't achieve your goal, right? You shot for that 100 and you only hit 65. What would happen if you only hit 25? How negative? Would you have to continue to stay at your full-time job and work that as a part-time? Would there be some kind of crossroads? Would you have to quit and start over and do something else, right? If you're not all in, what does that look like? For those of you just joining and you're getting a little late, make sure you watch the replay from the beginning. We're talking about how to positively set goals for ourselves, right? And then finally, when we set these goals, and this is the most important thing, and he talks about this, but I talk about this all the time. You got to set SMART goals, right? SMART goals are those that are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So folks, in other words, when you set a goal, they have to be specific. The goal has to be, I'm going to commit X amount of time to do X amount of things and achieve X thing by the end of the year, right? Timely means it's by the end of the year, right? It's going to happen by the end of the year. Realistic is, or can you realistically accomplish that thing by the end of the year, right? Achievable. Do you have the capacity to achieve it, right? If you set a goal of putting yourself on the moon by the end of the year, is that realistic? Do you have the ability to achieve it? Is it timely? Can you do that by the end of the year, right? But if you set yourself a goal to hit X contracts or X real estate transactions or, X meetings with new clients if you're in a different industry, right? Or if you're a doctor or an attorney who's trying to meet with clients, right? Set X appointments or X marketing dollars aside that we're going to generate X appointments to get new clients in the door, right? What does that look like? Is it specific? Is it realistic? Is it achievable? And is it timely? Within a certain amount of time, we're going to do that, right? So make sure there's SMART goals that you're achieving. But that 50-50 rule, I think, is one of the biggest takeaways. It's the first time I've heard it explained this way. It's the first time I've actually read it that way. And it gives yourself some breathing room, right? If you're not specifically on track monetarily to hit your goals, are you still achieving the knowledge? Because at the end of the day, guys, we're all playing the long game. If we're not playing the long game, we should be. right? If you don't hit your goals in year one, are you ready to double your goals in year two? Are you building yourself a platform that's going to allow you to springboard in year two, to take it to a whole nother place in year two because what you've learned in year one? If you're in sales and you're not achieving the goal, but you're learning how to be a better salesperson, you're learning how to ask better questions, you're learning how to create solutions for people when you're out on appointments, you're learning how to actually help people achieve what they need to do, year two is going to be so much easier for you because you're going to understand the process. You're going to understand compassion. You're going to understand working with people and helping them achieve what they need. So year two is not going to be about the jitters of going on the appointment and how you're going to prepare and what you're going to say and what you're going to do because you spent all of year one getting that out of your system. Does that make sense? So folks, the 50-50 rule. Set your goals, make them smart, and ask yourself better questions. I hope you find that valuable. If you do, make sure you share it with other people. Make sure you just spread the message. Just put this on your timeline. Copy and paste the link at the top of the screen and just message it to somebody who might need to hear this message today. Because guess what? We're in the last quarter of 2018, and I would love for this stuff to hit business plans for 2019, help people affect change. If you guys are interested and you want to see yourselves affect change and you're local to our market, I do these things called CEO roundtables. The next one is December 5th and 6th in my office. We have a few seats left for that. That's a 2-day event. I'm actually considering, and post it below if you'd be interested in this, I'm considering doing a 1-day event because I get a lot of kickback that people aren't capable of taking 2 whole days off and getting away from their job, getting away from their business. And I get that because I was in that position years ago. When I first started going to these type of events, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to even leave my work for 2 days, let alone my phone and my texts and my emails, and how am I going to detach from this stuff? So I'm considering doing a 1-day event in Haddonfield. You know, we got the whole training center set up now. We have the ability to host great people, and we have the ability to cut it down in time. So I'm thinking about doing a 1-day event with a dinner. We'll make it a bigger event. It'll be 20 to 30 people in the room, and we'll do a modified version of a roundtable. And in that roundtable, we'll talk about building good systems. We'll talk about building great teams, how to hire A players, where to find them, how to keep them on board, how to build and organize your team so that you can make profitable business happen, and how to get yourself out of that 100-hour-a-week grind that you might be in. Folks, when I was in that position 7 years ago or so, and I'm getting ready to go down to Dallas on Thursday and talk about this, I was really wearing 2 hats, right? I felt like Superman and Clark Kent. I was a realtor and I was a flipper, and I would jump back and forth, and I would get changed in the morning. I would wear my suit and tie to work, and I would go on listing appointments, and then I would come home in the afternoon and rip it off, put a T-shirt and jeans on, and go to the projects, and deal with subcontractors and handle change orders and pay them, write my checkbook and pay their bills on the site. And I was working 100 hours a week, and I was making decent money, but I kept feeling like I wasn't being my unique self. And, I figured out the changes that I needed to make in order to leverage great people and build a great culture and a great team. And that's the things that we talk about in the CEO roundtable. And that's what we talk about for 2 days with great people around the room. The thing I'm thinking about doing is cutting it down to 1 day to give the ability for some of the people that maybe are local. Hey, you can still fly in for it if you wanted to, but maybe some of the local people who are interested in something like this, maybe for a little less money, for a lot less money because it's only 1 day, and just have more people in the room and have these conversations and have that ability to have a Q&A and open, behind the scenes, behind the curtain, have my team in the room and so forth. So if that's something that interests you guys, make sure you put a comment below or send me a DM. We might do something like that at the beginning of November. I'm considering it right now. I'm talking to my team. They're interested. They want to help more people create that freedom and create that ability to go do those things and help them do their business. The truth of the matter is we also want to connect with a lot more people in the local market and help them do more business just outright. It's not a recruiting pitch. I have no interest in trying to bring you on board to Remax or our team or any of that kind of thing unless you want to. I'm not gonna force you not to, obviously. We just want to help other people do more business. In turn, helps us do business. So we'd love to help you guys in any way we can, bring you in the room and help you benefit from the CEO roundtable ability We'll call the shortened event something else, just so the guys that are paying $5,000 for that 2-day event don't feel like they're getting gypped, and it's not a CEO roundtable shortened. But it'll be similar to that, and it'll be a good structure for people to leave there with really actionable notes and things that they can take with them to go take their business to a different level, and definitely jumpstart 2019 rather, to a whole different level. So if that's something that interests you, make sure, again, you comment below, say I'm in, put that little hand emoji up there, and let's talk. Also send me a DM. I'd love to chat with you guys and see if we can put that together. So with that said, I'll talk to you guys later. Have an amazing week.